You're standing on the first tee, same swing you've had for 30 years, but the ball just doesn't go where it used to. You blame your age, you blame your back, you buy a new driver. I did all of that. None of it worked. Here's what I found instead. The golf ball in your bag right now might be stealing 15 to 20 yards off every single drive. Not because of your swing, because that ball was never built for a swing like yours. This used to be common knowledge on every course in America. Then it got buried under glossy ads and tour player endorsements, and regular players like you and me forgot it entirely. Stay with me, because near the end I'll show you something I pulled from a golf laboratory study, a 2-minute trick you can do this weekend in your own kitchen that adds real yards without touching your swing. And this works for the exact swing you have today, slow tempo and all. No lessons required. I remember the afternoon it clicked for me. I was at a little 9-hole course outside Marshall, watching a man who had to be past 70 outdrive me by 20 yards with a swing that looked slower than mine. I couldn't understand it. Turns out he knew one thing I didn't, and that one thing is the whole reason I made this. Let me back up and tell you how I got it so wrong for so long. For most of my playing life, I bought the ball the pros played. That felt logical. If the best players in the world trust it, it must be the best ball, right? So I paid the premium. $50 a dozen, sometimes more. I treated those balls like eggs. Lost one in the water and felt it in my chest. And my drives kept getting shorter. Every season, a little less. I told myself it was just getting older. I bought a new driver with a bigger head. I bought a shaft that was supposed to be lighter and faster. I spent, honestly, close to $600 over 2 years chasing distance I thought my body had lost. Then I met that man near Marshall, and he said something that stuck with me. He asked me one question. He asked, "Son, do you even know what compression means?" And I didn't. I had played golf for decades, and I had no real idea what was actually happening when my club hit the ball. So I went home and I started reading. And what I learned made me a little angry, honestly. Here's the short version, and it changes everything. A golf ball is built to squash against the club face at the moment of impact. That squash, that flattening and springing back, is what launches the ball. Engineers measure how hard a ball is with a number called compression. A high number means a firm ball that takes real force to squash. A low number means a softer ball that flattens easily. Now here's the part nobody told me. To get all the distance out of a firm, high-compression ball, you need serious clubhead speed. We're talking a driver swing over 105 miles per hour. That's tour player speed. That's the speed those balls were designed and tested for. And what's the average driver swing speed for a man over 50? Depending on which set of numbers you look at, it lands somewhere between 75 and 85 miles per hour. For a lot of guys past 65, it's down in the low 70s. Do you see the problem? I was swinging maybe 80 miles per hour and playing a ball engineered for 105. I physically could not squash that ball enough to get it to perform. It was like trying to bounce a bowling ball. All my energy went into the ball, and the ball just barely gave anything back. That's not a swing problem. That's a mismatch. And I had been paying a premium for the privilege of losing distance. But understanding compression only opened a bigger question. If the ball I trusted most was the wrong ball, then which specific balls should a slower swinger stay away from? Because they are sitting right there on the shelf at eye level, and they are the most heavily marketed balls in the entire store. Let me name them, because this is where it gets specific. The first ball I had to take out of my own bag was the Titleist Pro V1X. It's a legendary ball. It's also one of the firmest balls made for everyday sale, with a compression up around 100. It's brilliant if you swing like a touring professional. For a swing in the 70s or low 80s, it's a distance killer. I played it for years. That one hurt to admit. Number 2 on my avoid list is the TaylorMade TP5X. Same story. A firm, 5-layer ball, built for high speed, compression sitting in the mid to upper 90s. Beautiful ball in the right hands. Wrong hands, and those hands were mine, it just refuses to give back the energy you put in. Number 3 is the Callaway Chrome Soft X. Now the word soft is right there in the name, and that fooled me completely. But the X version is the firmer one, tuned for faster players, and the compression climbs well up into the 90s. The name says soft. The ball is not soft for a slow swing. That naming trick is exactly the kind of thing that kept me buying the wrong ball for years. Number 4 is the Bridgestone Tour BX, another premium tour ball, another compression reading up in the mid to upper 90s, another ball engineered around a swing speed most of us simply don't have anymore. I tested it, same disappointing carry. And number 5 is the Srixon Z-Star XV. This one has one of the higher compression readings of any ball sold to the public, right around 102. It's a rocket for a strong young player. For the rest of us, it's like hitting a stone. Every single one of those balls is excellent. I want to be fair. They are engineering marvels. The problem was never the quality. The problem was that I was sold a ball built for somebody else's body, and nobody at the counter ever asked me how fast I swing. Therefore, the real question became the one that actually mattered to my wallet and my scorecard. If those 5 are wrong for a slower swing, what is right? And could a cheaper ball actually go farther than the $50 a dozen ball I'd been babying all those years? That felt impossible to me. It turned out to be the truth. Now, I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now, because I thought it too. You're thinking this is fine for a guy who plays 3 times a week and has money to experiment with a dozen different balls. You play once a month. Your budget is tight. You don't have time to run tests on a driving range. I hear you. So let me make this dead simple, something you can act on the very next time you're near a store, with no testing and no expense beyond one sleeve of balls. Here it is. If your drives don't carry past about 200 yards in the air, you almost certainly swing slow enough that a low compression ball will help you. That's the whole test. You don't need a launch monitor. You don't need a coach. You just need to be honest about how far the ball actually flies. And low compression balls are cheaper than the tour balls, usually a lot cheaper. So this isn't a case where the better choice costs you more. For once, the better choice for your game is also the better choice for your wallet. That almost never happens. Hold on to that. So let me give you the 3 balls that actually put distance back in my bag, because these are the ones that matter. The first is the Callaway Super Soft. This ball has a compression down around 38. Compare that to the 100-plus balls I was playing. When I first hit it, I honestly laughed, because it came off the face like it wanted to fly. On my slower swing, it launched higher, carried farther, and cost me about half of what I'd been paying. Half the price. More distance. That combination should not exist, and yet there it was. The second is the Wilson Duo Soft. And here's a fact I love, because Wilson has marketed this ball at various points as one of the lowest compression golf balls in the world, with a reading down around 35. It is squishy in the best way. For a swing that can't compress a firm ball, this thing does the work for you. It flattens easily, springs back hard, and gets airborne with almost no effort. Wilson is not a flashy tour brand, and I think that's exactly why so many slower players have never even tried it. The third one I'll give you is the Srixon Soft Feel, with a compression in the low 60s. This one is my in-between pick, for the player whose swing sits in the mid-80s and wants a little more control around the greens without going all the way down to the softest ball on the shelf. It gave me the distance I wanted off the tee and still checked up nicely on approach shots. 3 balls, every one of them cheaper than the tour ball I used to guard with my life. Now, 3 balls is what fits in a video. The real work I did was a lot bigger than that, and it lives in the books I wrote for players exactly like us. In there you get the full fitting system, the kitchen table test that takes about 5 minutes and tells you whether your ball is the problem instead of your swing, the corrected compression chart matched to real swing speeds in the 70s and 80s, the short list of models worth your money, the cold morning correction, and why dimple pattern matters more at our speed than anybody admits. It is 402 pages plus of the testing and the reading behind everything I just told you, written so you can walk into any shop and know, before you touch a box, which ball belongs in your bag and which one is quietly costing you carry. If you want that, scan the QR code right there on your screen, link in the description, pinned comment. The collection is right there waiting for you. Because once you know what your own ball is doing, the next question comes fast, and it is not a comfortable one. Every one of them longer, for a slower swing. I ran this myself, ball after ball, on the same holes, on the same afternoons, and the low compression balls beat the premium balls off my driver every time, not by a little. I picked up somewhere between 12 and 18 yards of carry just by switching the ball. My swing never changed at all. Now here's where I got angry all over again, because a new question hit me. If this is true, if a $30 ball outperforms a $50 ball for most players over 50, why on earth did no one tell me? Why is every ad, every tour broadcast, every display at the front of the shop pushing me toward the firm, expensive ball that was quietly costing me distance? And the answer is not flattering. The premium tour ball carries the fattest profit margin and the most powerful marketing story in the entire golf business. When you watch the best player in the world win a major championship with a specific ball, you want that ball. That's how it's designed to work. The endorsement isn't there to help your game. It's there to move your hand toward the most expensive box on the shelf. And here's the piece that really got under my skin. Those tour players are being paid, and paid enormously, to play that exact ball. It's the right ball for them, no question, because they swing at 115, 120 miles per hour. But the whole marketing machine is built to blur one simple fact. The ball that's perfect for a professional swing can be actively working against yours. Nobody profits from telling a 70-year-old man to buy the cheaper ball, so nobody tells him. I went years without hearing it, and I was paying attention. The concept itself isn't new. This is knowledge golfers used to talk about openly. Let me take you back, because the history here matters. Compression as a real, measured idea goes back further than most people realize. The modern golf ball itself was born in 1898, when a man named Coburn Haskell, working with a friend from the B.F. Goodrich Rubber Company, wound rubber thread around a core to make the first rubber ball. That invention changed golf forever, because suddenly the ball's ability to compress and rebound became the heart of how far it flew. By the middle of the 20th century, club fitters and pros understood compression intuitively. They talked about it with regular players. There were commonly sold balls rated at 80 compression, 90 compression, and 100 compression, and a good club professional would steer a slower swinger toward the 80 and steer the strong young player toward the 100. It was normal. It was part of buying golf balls. There's even a wonderful piece of history buried in the testing side of this. Back in the 1960s, the game's governing body developed a mechanical hitting machine to test golf balls and clubs with perfect consistency. They nicknamed that machine Iron Byron, after the great Byron Nelson, because his swing was considered so repeatable it was practically a machine already. That device measured, with cold precision, exactly how balls performed at different swing speeds. The data has existed for 60 years. The knowledge that different swings need different balls is not a secret. It was simply allowed to fade from the conversation, because the conversation got taken over by advertising. So the knowledge existed. Real people measured it. Club pros passed it along across the counter for decades. Then the marketing budgets grew, the tour broadcasts got slicker, and the simple question, "How fast do you swing?" got replaced by the simple command, "Play what the champion plays." That's how something this basic got buried. But once I understood all of that, I still had one nagging feeling. Switching to a low compression ball gave me backyards I thought were gone forever. That was real. Yet I kept wondering whether there was anything else, some final edge, that the slower swinger could use without spending another dime or taking a single lesson. And that's when I stumbled onto the thing that genuinely surprised me. Because there's a factor almost nobody talks about that changes how far your ball flies, And it has nothing to do with your swing, your club, or even which ball you buy. It has to do with temperature. Here's what I found. When golf laboratories tested identical balls at different temperatures, the results were dramatic. A cold golf ball is a firmer golf ball. The rubber inside stiffens as it cools, the compression effectively rises, and the ball refuses to squash and rebound the way it should. Exactly the problem a slow swinger is already fighting. Independent testing has shown that a ball chilled down near 40 degrees can fly noticeably shorter than that same ball warmed up near 90 degrees. Depending on the test, we're talking a loss of several yards, and in some measurements the gap between a cold ball and a warm ball stretched into the double digits over a full round. Think about that. If you play early mornings in the spring or the fall, and you pull a cold ball out of your bag where it's been sitting in a chilly garage or the trunk of your car all night, you are handing back a chunk of the distance you just gained by switching balls. For a slower swinger, that's brutal, because you don't have the speed to spare. So here's the trick, and it is almost embarrassingly simple. Keep your golf balls warm before you play. The night before an early round, I bring my sleeve inside the house instead of leaving it in the cold trunk. On cool mornings, I keep the 2 or 3 balls I'm about to use in my front pants pocket, close to my body, so they stay warm right up until I tee them up. Some players rotate 2 balls, keeping one warming in a pocket while they play the other. A warm ball compresses more easily, springs back harder, and for a slow swing, that's exactly the help you need. Now I have to give you one honest and important warning, and this is the part that tells you the trick is real. Under the official rules of golf, you are not allowed to use an artificial device to deliberately heat your golf ball during a round. That rule exists specifically because everyone in charge knows warming a ball gives you an advantage. Read that again. The rule against heating devices is proof the effect is real. So no hand warmers in your bag during a competition, but starting your round with balls that were kept warm indoors and keeping them warm in your own pocket with your own body heat? That's just smart, and it's how thoughtful players have quietly gained yards for generations. I tried it on a cold October morning at my home course. First tee, warm ball straight from my pocket. My drive carried like it was July. The guy I play with, who left his balls in his cold trunk overnight like always, was scratching his head about why he felt short all day. I didn't say a word until the back 9. Put it all together, and it's a stack of free distance. The right low-compression ball for your swing, bought at a lower price than the tour ball you were guarding like treasure, kept warm so it performs at its best from the very first swing. No new driver, no lessons, no younger body required, and every piece of that was once ordinary knowledge. The compression numbers on the box, the club pro asking how fast you swing, the old-timers slipping a ball into a warm pocket on a frosty morning. It all got buried under a story that told you the only thing that mattered was playing what the champions play. It was never true for a swing like yours. It was never true for a swing like mine. I spent close to $600 chasing distance in new equipment when the answer was a cheaper ball in my own front pocket. That's the part I can't get back, and it's the reason I wanted to hand this to you today, so you don't lose the years and the money I lost. You're the kind of person who suspects a lot of what we're told to buy is really just someone else's profit dressed up as advice. You're right to suspect it. Golf is one of the clearest examples I've ever found, where the most expensive, most advertised product on the shelf is quietly the wrong one for most of the people buying it. So let me ask you something specific, and I really want your answer. What ball is sitting in your bag right now, and do you actually know its compression number? Tell me in the comments. Drop the name of your ball down below, and if you know your driver swing speed, put that too, and I'll tell you straight whether you're playing the right ball or leaving yards on the table. I read every one, and this audience always teaches me something. And if you believe, like I do, that a whole shelf of useful, simple knowledge got pushed aside just to keep us spending, then come along with the rest of us who are digging it back up one method at a time. Subscribe, because the next thing I tested surprised me even more than the warm ball trick. It's about the exact spot on your club face where slower swingers should be striking the ball to add height and carry, and it's the opposite of what almost everyone is taught. I ran the numbers on it myself, and I can't wait to show you what I found. Before you go, do one thing for me this week. Take the ball out of your bag, read the box or look up its compression, and be honest about how far you really carry your driver. That one small act of honesty is exactly where my whole game turned around. It cost me nothing, and it gave me back yards I was certain were gone for good. The man near Marshall who outdrove me with that slow, easy swing knew all of this. He wasn't stronger than me. He wasn't younger than me. He just hadn't forgotten what the rest of us were quietly taught to ignore. Now you haven't forgotten either. Go use it. Before you go, let me share what waits just past this. Inside the old ways circle, I take you the rest of the way. And if you're unsure what fits you, ask me directly. A real person, me, answering you myself, not some machine. You won't be alone. Thousands of old ways folks like you are already inside. Just point your phone's camera at the code on the screen. Cancel anytime with one click. No risk. Now that you know the right ball for your swing, let's find the clubs that match it. In the next video, I'll show you 7 clubs that make the game easier and add real distance. It's starting right here.